Good day, boys and girls. Are you ready for another grammar lesson in Chapter 14? This is grammar lesson number 2. We're nearing the end of the semester, so I know that everybody is excited for getting out of school, but let's plug through till the end. We're going to review the past or the imperfect subjunctive because actually we had this back when we were looking at the present subjunctive. Rules are basically the same. For the present subjunctive, when there's a verb in the indicative of volition or doubt or impersonal expression or an adjective clause, they will be followed by the present subjunctive. And if there is a past indicative verb expressing desire or emotion, impersonal expression or doubt, or an adjective clause describing something that you wanted and that was ideal to you in the past, you're going to use past subjunctive. So really you're learning a new conjugation, and really not so much because it's based on the preterite of the third person. So far you have studied the subjunctive in the present tense. No quiero que me pongan un yeso. The main clause is in the indicative, and the dependent clause is in the present subjunctive, both of them present tense. Notice how they match up on each side of K, which is serving to divide the clause. If the verb in the main clause is in the preterite or the imperfect, you must use the imperfect subjunctive in the dependent clause. El doctor quería, that's imperfect, happened in the past, que me pusieran un yeso. Notice that the imperfect quería stacks up against the imperfect or past tense subjunctive. Now, how do we get the past tense subjunctive? Very simple. To form the imperfect subjunctive, take the third person plural ending of the preterite tense. So remember, yo tuve, tú tuviste, él tuvo, nosotros tuvimos, ellos tuvieron. That's what's going to interest us. Have to know your preterite conjugations, which is why we had the big review at the beginning of the semester and why you took the test on conjugations. You need to know the preterite third person plural. Hablaron, comieron, invitaron. And remove the ron. So you have a basic stem there, tuvi, habla, and then you're going to put the following endings on. Yo, you're going to put ra. So yo, let's take tener, let's take tuviera. Yo tuviera, tú tuvieras. Él, ella, usted tuviera. Nosotros tuviéramos, ellos, ellas, ustedes tuvieran. Here's an example. Now we're going to be using dormir, which is an IR vowel changing verb. And you remember that those verbs change in the third person plural. So the preterite tense is durmieron. We're going to take off the ron, durmiero, and add the imperfect subjunctive endings. Durmiera, durmieras, durmiera, durmiéramos, and durmieran. Note that there's always an accent over the imperfect subjunctive in nosotros. For example, let's take a look. Era bueno que Ana durmiera hasta las 8 porque sufría de la insomnia. Era bueno. Past tense, correct? And so it's also an impersonal expression, which immediately red flags go off, and you say, yes, I need the subjunctive. So, era bueno que Ana durmiera. It was good that Anna slept. The imperfect subjunctive is used for the same reasons as the present subjunctive. To express an opinion using impersonal expressions. Example, era importante que Julio y Miguel estuvieran en el hospital. To express doubt, el médico no era seguro de que necesitaras la cirugía. To express desire, yo prefería que me dieran unas pastillas para el dolor. to express an emotion. Nos sorprendió que la abuela tuviera cáncer. To talk about unknown using adjective clauses. Amelia necesitaba una pastilla que le ayudara a dormir. You notice the reasons on the left we've covered before in the present subjunctive. The only thing in the examples is that they're now in the past. And notice how the first parts of the clauses, the ones that are in the indicative, are somehow related to past tense. And therefore, the imperfect subjunctive is going to be in the second part of the clause. When expressing what would happen in a hypothetical situation, it is necessary to use the imperfect subjunctive and the conditional. Now, we learned the conditional in point 1 of this chapter. Si no estuviera resfriada, vendría con ustedes. Notice the formula here. If I didn't have a cold, I would come with you. Take a look at another example. Si Anita se rompiera el brazo, le pondrían un yeso. If Anita broke her arm, they would put a cast on her. The words in blue are in the dependent clause, the imperfect subjunctive. The words in red are in the main clause, conditional. Now the reason for this is that we're using what this sets up a whole different type of situation. This clause is called a contrary to fact condition. Look at the first one. If I didn't have a cold, I would come with you. If I didn't have a cold immediately says I do have a cold. But it's making a conjecture that if he didn't, I would come with you. In other words, no part of the statement is actually happening or actually true. It's a condition that's contrary to the actual fact of what it is. In the second one, did Anita break her arm? No, she didn't. But if she broke her arm, they would put a cast on her. So the formula is si, or if, plus the past subjunctive in one clause and conditional in the next clause. Let's take some practice here on that. Complete the phrases in the sentence using the verb and see if we can get the right answer. Si yo blank dos iría al médico. What are your clues here? Well, you've got si, you've got if. And in the second clause, you've got conditional. So according to the formula that we just did, if plus past subjunctive plus conditional, if you answered that, you're correct. Si yo tuviera tos, iría al médico. If I had a cough, I would go to the doctor. Contrary to fact condition. That's si. The first word, if, si, clues it off, and then the second one, conditional, gives you the undoubtable answer. Era ridículo que Patricia, what kind of rule do we have here? Al hospital cuando no estaba enferma. Everything is in the past tense, impersonal expression. Era ridículo que Patricia fuera, past tense subjunctive. Look at the third one. Si tú blank te pondrías, that's conditional, un vendaje. Si tú te cortaras, if you were to cut yourself, you would put a bandage on it. If plus past subjunctive plus conditional. Number 4. Queríamos que los doctores más de la enfermedad de nuestro padre. Queríamos, we were wanting, we wanted. Something we want in the past. If we want somebody else to do something, you know it's going to take subjunctive. Past subjunctive, supieran. Queríamos que los doctores supieran más de la enfermedad de nuestro padre. Number 5. Ustedes dudaron que yo. There's doubt. It's in the past tense. Que yo pudiera dejar de fumar. They doubted that I was able to stop or quit smoking. Miren las fotos y después túrnense para completar las oraciones correspondientes. Look at the pictures and afterwards take turns to complete the corresponding sentences. Photo number 1. Era necesario que... What was necessary in this picture? La paciente esperaba que... What was the patient waiting for? La enfermera creía que... What did the nurse believe or think? What about the next picture here? Era obvio que... It was obvious that... Le frustró que... It frustrated her that... No conocía a nadie que... She didn't know anyone who... This is all in the past now. And let's take another picture. Tenía miedo que... The little girl was afraid that... La enfermera le recomendó que... The nurse recommended that she... La niña le pidió que... The little girl asked her to... What? We will go over these in class.